Welcome to the show. We have not done COVID in a while. So let's get started here. There's over 4,200 new cases with 11 new deaths. Over 24 new cases. Tests almost 10% positive since May 6th. And over 550,000. Hospitalizations, almost 15,000 people hospitalized, with over 1,700 people in ICU. Vaccinations, 62.4, 74.3, 21.2, 70.8. 581 doses given, 220 fully vaccinated, at 66.9 million, 0.9%. Okay. But how about our local schools? Let's look at this week. Throughout the 9th and the 13th, there's been no new cases. Oh, except for one ECC student active. So, only one for ECC, nothing else new for, sorry about that, for for the virus. But it raises some concerns. It's like this. If you don't have a plan, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. What you guys need to do is understand that we need to try our best to make sure that we're we still gotta try our best to get vaccinated and do whatever we want. But the main issue that I have here this is the main issue I have. The main issue that I have is basically nobody cares. They think that, it'll all blow over. No one's getting vaccinated because they're afraid that they're gonna catch COVID. It's not going to do that. You're not going to get COVID from the vaccine. It's to protect you. Which is the reason why I had to go against my mom. That was the whole reason why. And it may be against the religion. Okay, if it's against your religion, it's against your religion. But there's probably no reason for you to go behind their back. If you're gonna do that, if you're gonna go behind their back, okay, do that. But hide the vaccination card. If your pastor sees you getting the vaccine, walk the other way. Walk the other direction. If they don't see you, then you're good. Then you're good. If they question you, tell them the truth. And just yesterday, Biden marks COVID's toll as it U.S. years 1 million deaths. That just shows nobody is doing anything about it. Nobody's getting vaccinated. I mean, we have 2 vaccines. Everybody's being dosed. Everyone. Children, adults, teenagers that once that vaccine are able to get it. And if people want to go back to square one, like back in 2020, this isn't March 2020. If we have to go back to square one, then we have to go back to square one. Personally, I would not go back to square one. We have to live with the fact that new variants may be on the rise, new boosters, and we have to make sure that we know what we're doing, making sure it doesn't happen again, and trying our best to understand this will all blow over unless everybody takes part in this. That means you need to make sure. What you need to do is make sure you know what you're doing. Do what you need to do. Get vaccinated. And throughout the 2 years we're doing this, I've been giving you guys tips on what to do. So, what else can be done? Well, other than I tell you before, what you need to do is you need to get yourself masked up, period. Social distance, hand wash it, vaccines. If you're quarantined, you need to stay quarantined. This is the big problem. You're quarantined, you can't leave the area. They leave, and then you gotta stay another 10 days. It's a week. Make sure of that. Follow the quarantine rules. If you're quarantined, stay home. Do not go out. Virtual. The only time you ever need to leave the house, take out the trash or go check on the mail. That's it. That's all it. Medical condition, let them know. If you're in the option area and doing this, then you're not, then okay. Just do whatever. Coming up next, more on the Oxford school shooting. This time the prosecutor says there's no reason to lend independent review of the shooting. Why is Karen McDonald weighing in on this? And what's the update situation? We'll give you some catch up on the Oxford school shooting. And then later, there's more bullying going on, and I'm going to share with you a group that I created 2 years ago. Stay tuned. Up front tonight, the Oxford School Board has declined for the second time the Attorney General's offer to help investigate this. The family is at anger about this, and so am I. Look, we've covered this we covered this months ago, to where this shooter, this guy shot the school. The parents are charged for negligence. The parents are charged for involuntary manslaughter. This and that and the other. And personally, lots of lawsuits are in hand. So let's take a look at some clips from Fox 2 Detroit.
Tonight from the families of the victims of the Oxford High School shooting.
And it's all because the school board is refusing an independent investigation by the state's attorney general. Fox 2's Charlie Langton joins us. And Charlie, you'd think that we'd want to learn from this tragedy so it never happens again. But the school board, for whatever reason, is saying, no thank you.
Well, it depends who you talk to. I did get a chance to talk to the school board attorney. I'll get into that in a moment, plus some others on this. Now, here's what's really going on. Last night, the school board in Oxford, they did vote not to have an independent investigation, and they did vote not to have the Attorney General Dana Nessel take a look at what's going on. However, the school board did make a presentation, and they did say that as far as their safety and security in the school, they did have that reviewed, and that was discussed at the meeting. Now, Taryn, I think you said it. The victims are outraged. Ben Johnson represents a number of them, and here's what he had to say today.
Attorney General Nessel said that she would do it for free. Obviously, the taxpayers pay, as always, but that she would do it, and they say no.
I think it's important to the community and the parents that have kids at that school, so that you can kind of get to the bottom of why this happened and what change you gotta drive forward to fix this.
We want to know what went wrong. It was a breakdown in the school that day, period.
We have no alternative but to move forward in terms of these civil cases and prove that which everybody already knows, and that is that Oxford is in part responsible for this tragedy, so that it never happens again.
All right, let's talk a little bit about investigation. What is an investigation? By my count, there are 5 civil lawsuits. Victims suing the school district, suing individuals for money. 5 of them.
Including
There's
Tim
also
Strong, the
2
superintendent.
criminal cases where we already know the prosecutor's bringing charges. Those are both considered investigations. And then, if you add in all of the FOIA requests from people like me or the media, there's many, many, many more. the Oxford School District Attorney said basically those are all investigations. So I don't think there's going to be a shortage of the facts in this case. They will come out. Now, what's interesting, though, is that some people are saying, well, what about the policy? Should the school have thought about the red flags? Should there be different policies when you are presented with a situation? Now, that is something that might be investigated beyond this factual investigations that are going on with all these lawsuits, etc. Interesting. I had a conversation with Karen McDonald. She's the prosecutor. She said she would support an independent investigation. If it's truly independent, maybe by a governor's committee or perhaps, or some educational group perhaps, maybe the Attorney General, but some independent to talk about the policy. And she is disappointed in Oxford. Remember, Oxford still is a public body. Those people on that board, they're elected, and there is some merit to making sure that the community feels safe in Oxford. And yes, an independent investigation regarding that aspect, future, might very well be warranted. But again, we are not done. There's a lot of investigations and a lot of facts still to come out.
Well, draw a line between these investigations. So you have the investigations you mentioned, then you have the Attorney General's office saying, hey, we'd like a part in this, and that's what the board is saying no to. How are those investigations differ? The one from the AG versus the ones that are already going to happen?
I actually don't know what the AG. Now remember, so the AG generally, the Attorney General investigates for criminal aspects. There's already a criminal investigation going on, and Karen McDonald, the prosecutor, has had all kinds of evidence. I mean, there's volumes of evidence in this case, and she's going to have to review that, and she's got to make a case. So she's got a burden. Now, will the Attorney General just mirror that? I don't know. I'm not sure. But the Attorney General does have a lot of authority. However, in a defense with Dana Nessel, she says, listen, if the Oxford School District's not going to cooperate, and they may not cooperate, but in part because they are being sued. Because if I'm the attorney for the school district, I'm going to say, listen, I don't want you making any statements until all of these cases go through the proper procedure. Listen, I'm just giving both sides to this.
Sure.
There's a political overtone that is tremendous here. These are elected officials, these are safety issues, and then there's the fact that the public really wants to know. So there's all of that going on. So the difference, good question, is it different? What would they do? I don't really know. Facts, forget it. They're going to come out. The policy of schools, and there are a lot of organizations out there that are truly independent that could have an opinion on the policy when these situations present themselves.
Yeah, moms and dads of the kids who went to school there and go to school there, and the brothers and sisters deserve to have all the facts in front of them, and let's hope that's what they get either way. Charlie Langton, Forest Live. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's right. He's right. He's right. I'd have to agree. The public really wants to know, and the Attorney General is saying, we want a part of this. And yet the school board goes, scratches their head, going, nope, stay out of it. We don't want you involved. We don't need you investigating this. We can handle it. Stay your ass out of it. That's how it is. I think the board is bullying the Attorney General. I really think she is. I really think they are. I really think that these 5 lawsuits have been put in place for a reason, because the public doesn't want to know, because they're not going to, because the whole reason for this is basically because we're not telling anyone. We will investigate this ourselves. They rejected on a lot of other reactions. We'll tell you more about this. And we'll hear criticism from the school leaders. And we'll hear criticism that for limited to the third-party review when we return. Let's bring up to date on the in a case in DeKalb County, Georgia, where just Wednesday we told you about another high school an elementary school that's in need of repairs. The similarities to one in Druid Hills High. This was when the superintendent decided to hold off, not to put this on the table because of all the issues until we focused on remodels. Now, according to Decaturist.com, the Board of Education February and April meetings rejected moderation of a 95-year-old Druid High School and voted its district-wide repairs an estimated cost total of $444 million in taxpayer dollars. At the board's regular meeting on May 9th, Interim Chief Operations Officer Richard Boyd described the efforts to Gaddo on Dirt Hills, however, May 10th, the Nuts Junior video dropped warned unsafe at Lakeside High. In response to the video by Lakeside High, students take explosive Donald Porter referred to the mandate as district-wide repairs. Watson Harris met resistance from the board in many of her hiring and purchasing decisions. Her latest attempt was to improve process by hiring a professional development firm called North Star, who was voted down by the board in April. Watson Harris, she attempted to put structures and systems in place that would allow district leaders to act based on data would show her to monitor what's happening. But the district's board approach to fixing its buildings may also be driving up costs in itself. But there's now a face-off. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the DeKalb School Board District 4 incompetent challenger face-off. Allison Quinn seeking her re-election seat to DeKalb County Board of Education, and Bonnie Challenge Success challenging her for the District 4 seat. So there's two of them. This because of the GFS is being critical of the board's decision. We'll give you we'll keep you posted on Saturday, and Give Me Back continues in just a moment. So far, we heard about what happened with the district. They declined the second offer. I would be surprised if it was the third offer. Now we're gonna hear criticism we're gonna hear some criticism. Take a look.
Please take a look at these.
How about please stop posting ads?
Mir was one of the students lost that day. Well, Oxford High School lost 4 bright young teenagers to a gunman last year, and in the next 30 minutes, the school board will consider hiring a consultant to review safety procedures. Tate Mir was one of the students lost that day in November. In an exclusive interview with 7 Action News reporter Jim Kurtzner, Tate's father has strong words for how he says the district continues to fail in this tragedy on many levels.
This is a plan put forward by the Oxford schools for a third-party review. Buck Mears says this is a failure from the beginning.
To me, it doesn't address how did this day happen and how do we not let this day happen again.
Tate Mears is one of 4 students killed. His dad says the schools have brought in the 4 families individually to discuss setting up a memorial, but without making it a trigger reminder to students still healing from the mass shooting on November the 30th.
Well, they're not taking our advice or our opinions on that. They're doing what they want to do.
The evidence in the case includes accused shooter Ethan Crumbley drew this picture depicting the shooting. The morning of it, he was sent to the office, met with his parents, who said they couldn't take him home. Ethan was returned to class. A few hours later, video evidence shows he opened fire with a handgun his parents bought him as a Christmas present. No school officials looked inside his book bag, likely where he kept the gun. School counselor and dean of students involved that day are named in civil lawsuits. Buck Mears says Tate's classmates still come to their home and say they don't feel safe at school. School officials say they are taking advice from a trauma specialist moving forward.
I would love to ask the question to this trauma specialist that they keep referring to. What would it do for the kids if the school stood up and took ownership on their part in this?
The school plan for the third-party review spells out it is not to replicate the criminal investigation, but rather to assess areas of potential improvements in policies, procedures, training. We will not include an investigation that could potentially cause conflict with the criminal trials and civil litigation.
Absolutely detest it when people lie to my face and tell me how transparent they're being while they're hiding things from people.
Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel has offered twice to conduct a third-party review at no cost, but has been turned down. Family attorney asks, how much will they pay a consultant to do a limited review?
This is a travesty for everybody in that school now, because the folks that are still there want to know that their kids are safe.
Buck Mears says he's going to be back involved in the schools helping to coach football. We asked school officials for an interview about this, but we were told the superintendent did not have time. Jim Kurtzner, 7 Action News.
And it makes me angry that I hear that hear crap like this. So, what do I think needs to happen here? Well, let me tell you first of all, he's right. Lie to the face, lie to the public's face, where they pay the tax dollars in the state of Michigan, and yet they're saying, nope, we'll do what we want to do. You rather sweep the Attorney General's offers under the rug when they could have helped you out for free. Taxpayer dollars. This could have been great. But instead, nope. Stay out of this. We're taking care of it. Get your ass out of here. That's how it is. That's how it is. And for you guys out there in Oxford, you don't like it. If you don't like it there, you are more than welcome to move to Flower Bluff. We have a police station, a special education program, a good superintendent, a good community here in Flower Bluff, with its police station, a very good school district, a very good community. You're welcome to come by after the trial. After the trial. And I would look forward to meeting you guys, for those who watch. Well, come up next. There's more bullying in the headlines now. We're gonna hear from Edward Schools, who's hosting a bullying center for parents in Northeastern School District that are fed up with bullying. And from WNDU, which parents call for better anti-bullying policies in high school and schools when we come back. There is more bullying in the headlines. And let me tell you this, let me tell you this up front. I take this bullying business very seriously. I don't play theatrics. I take bullying very seriously. I take to what was talked about in the news very seriously. Which is why 2 years ago, February 2020, I created a group on Facebook, Stop Bullying, Speak Up, with the link in the description below. In Douglas County, on this typical Friday afternoon, Caden Rudolph, normally being PE class at the school, but instead, he had recess in his backyard. Her mother said that he's been repeatedly bullied at school. Tanner was able to watch a school bus surveillance video of one incident a few weeks ago when she said her son was attacked. In his own words, Cameron describes the altercation. Tanner experienced her son was punished, even though she said the video shows he was clearly not the aggressor. She shared pictures that show injuries from the physical incident, and 11 Live reached out to Douglas County Schools about the bus incident. In a statement, it says in part, following the investigation, the district concluded the alleged incident was both a mutual dispute and did not follow the district's definition of bullying. Both students have been disciplined according to the Douglas County School System Code of Conduct, she said. The mom says that was the final straw, but it built throughout the year. His mother says he's given him permission to defend himself, but he says he's in an elective fight and doesn't want to get into trouble. The district outlines what it defines as bullying. Is not clear how they protect students they deem as victims. But in these cases, Tanner said her son's been disciplined equally with the bullies. But what about their code of conduct? It ain't here. So, like I said before, like I said months ago, we were talking about tips. Parents, don't give your child permission to defend themselves. Fighting is against school policy. You fight someone, in my old school, I learned that if you threw the first punch, you're automatically sent across the street. That's what I learned. That's what I learned years ago. I've seen it all happen. I've seen the bullying. I've seen the fighting. I've seen people go to in-school suspension. Which is why 5 years ago I created the show, as I'm walking around the hallways of the school with the camera while talking about the issues. And your teacher can look at me like, what in the world is he talking about? Now parents call for anti-bullying policies in schools in South Bend, Indiana. The highest reported bullying is in middle and high schoolers. But other parents said they too believe the school districts are failing their children. But the question is, are schools doing enough? Should all responsibility fall on schools? Should there be better reporting bullying policies? Are claims taken seriously? What about anti-bullying legislation? At what point are we going to say enough's enough? But according to CDC, bullying is a frequent discipline problem, and it's also the number one cause of truancy. In the statement, the schools said students can speak to a adult or person concerned online called see something, hear something, say something, or bullying instant report form. But there are spreadsheets. And 5 years ago, on our very first season, we focused on TCISD's bullying report. When I printed out a spreadsheet, their spreadsheet contains a lot of the other schools, like this one here. They have 120 pages worth of this stuff. I mean, bullying reports, the highest number ever. I mean, you look at this and it's like 120 pages. A lot of bullying going on. Now parents call for anti-bullying policy in school because of this issue. And Elkhart parents, schools host a bullying assembly for parents. After a 12-year-old student's death by suicide being questioned by district's current policies. Ashley Box has a son who's in 9th grade. She disagrees with the idea the district had never properly addressed bullying. Her claims her son has been pants and harassed many times. All say bullying is very different now from what people grew up with, because harassment follows kids home on social media, which is a form of cyberbullying. We talked about that several times on the show, where it's all like, go hang yourself, this and that and the other. I hope you die. That's all cyberbullying. That is a virtual world. The advice I have for everyone is to unplug, block the person. Don't have any contact with them. Don't have any contact with your friends. If you feel like you're being bullied, you need to talk to your school about your problems. Because let me tell you something, I see kids skip class, leaving class because they're being picked on, and they don't want to go back. I get it. I've seen it happen. I was bullied too. I was bullied in 6th grade and in junior high school. I was bullied, but I never skipped class. I talked to an assistant principal. They would take care of it. They didn't take care of it. So what did I do? Lash out on social media? Absolutely not. I let it go. That is all I did. I let it go. I told my mom about it, and nothing, and it would happen. I didn't skip class. I wasn't in truancy court. I wasn't truant. A lot of other kids are truant too because of the bullying, and they're staying away from it. Even better, when I first watched the 2027 called Dangerous Hallways, I ain't showing it to you because that's 13 minutes. This is a half-hour show. We could do it next week. We could. I'm not saying we are. We could. This principal decided to suspend her daughter for one day because there's nothing I can do. They're not facing a lawsuit for violation of civil rights because back then they did not have any bullying policies. Something has to be done. When we focused on Robstown, they did a stupendous job with QR codes to report bullying. And Flower Bluff, they had a tremendous idea to just report bullying on its website. But not the QR codes. Those need to happen in our schools. This does not happen again. And I'm super proud of what's going on. All right, when we return, some good news. Throughout halfway through the half hour of the show, we focused in on bullying. If you want to have a bullying story you would like to tell, then you can visit the Stop Bullying Speak Up Facebook group in the description below. You can tell your story. I will not use your name, but I will tell your story. If you want to call my camera and if you change your mind and you want to call my camera to tell your story, I will set up a date and you can tell your story. And for more tip, and if you want to report bullies in your area schools, we'll write those in the description below. And if you want to learn how you can defend yourself against bullying, take the bullying pledge, you can do so on our website, which is givemeabreak.substack.com. You'll also find tips and help. You also find tips, helpful ideas on how to stop bullying and teaching your kids what they can do to make sure this doesn't happen again. And you can also contact your school and ask if they have similar bullying policies in their local school. All next week, I'll be taking your story. I'll be telling your stories. And if you want to call my camera and tell your story, you can let me know in the comments or on the Facebook group, which this will be uploaded to. Let's end this. And I'm very passionate about this. If you want to take a pledge, we'll also have that on the Facebook group. That's all this edition of Give Me a Break Friday going to Saturday. We'll see you again tomorrow for Give Me a Break Saturday night. For all of us here at YouTube and Give Me a Break, good night, everyone.